we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means, on infiltration instead of invasion, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. There is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it.
All right, welcome to episode 63 of the Abuse Hour. It is I, your host, Coffee Long, coming to you unsupervised, unmedicated, and an unchecked threat to society. So, yes, here I am again, rolling hard and raw outside the law on my merry way to the fucking airport yet again. So I got hit up yesterday and like, hey man, there's this short fuse gig, you gotta go. I'm like, short fuse? How short fuse is short fuse? How fast can you pack? I'm like, fuck. So yeah, here I am, man, bright and early, hating life, rolling out, getting my airplane on. Anyway, man, I got some good feedback off of last time. You know, we talked about some basic tactical considerations where shooting is concerned. I thought maybe this time we would talk a little over some gear considerations or some equipment considerations. And also, I guess before I get to that, I wanted to hit up on something I heard yesterday. I had occasion to listen to this deal called Just Jesse that's on it's on the Right Stuff network, and to be honest, man, that was actually like that particular show is probably the reason I started even doing a podcast. Unfortunately for you, right? Yeah, because I like every podcast I listen to, it's like a few guys hanging out, or maybe they're drinking and they got copious notes, and like I don't have shit. I'm just an idiot in a fucking car most of the time, just ranting and raving. But I listened to this dude, and so if you don't know what this show is, this is the Right Stuff deal, and it was I don't know, the kind of the network, the crew that really, like within the movement, like it really took off. And they had a really good, and I don't want to say had, as in they don't still have a lot going, but there's been hiccups, but that's in due course. So there was a really good formula going where they got like a guy that's like really book smart, like politically savvy, like understands a lot of things that are going on. They had this guy Jazz Hands that I've talked about before, and this guy is like, dude, if I was president tomorrow, my first call would be get me Jazz Hands. Like that would be it, dude. This guy knows what's going on. He sees between the tea leaves and walks between the raindrops, and like this guy's got a handle on shit. So they had that guy, and then they have this guy Sven or Jesse, however you like, that was doing his own like would just cook his own show, and really was like him just kind of killing an hour or so, hanging out, talking, or really like an hour and a half or so, and he'd just hang out and talk. But he would get some good rants on. But this guy is like, he's a musician and he's kind of artsy, and he doesn't get super into a lot of the fucking details and weeds and what have you, like a lot of political analysts do. Like it really is easy to do in our thing. It can turn into this analysis of just, the finite details. And a lot of times that's not what people want. It's not what people need. Like people aren't walking around with, their own team of analysts saying, oh, well, we're voting this direction. They just want, like, what do you think, So I listened to that guy for a while, and some of the stuff the guy puts out is like, I guess having started, doing a podcast, it was something that I kind of noticed that when you're not sitting with somebody else, when you're just sitting by yourself talking, it's like you get this idea, like you see something and you get a chance to talk through it, but you're not interacting with somebody else. You're not answering their questions. You're not responding to their statements. You're not holding on a minute, so they can go take a whiz or whatever. So you kind of get this chance to talk all the way through an idea, and you're kind of thinking it through yourself as you're talking it out. And then sometimes that's when you'll be like, holy shit, I just kind of understood something about this that I hadn't even thought of before, And so in that sense, It's good. I'm in it for myself, basically, I guess is what I'm telling you. Like, I'm in this for myself. But anyway, I was listening to that thing, and he was talking about, not extensively, but talking a little bit about some of the catastrophe surrounding the whole NJP falling apart situation. And like, first he was making the good point that yeah, I'm not making a normie show. I'm not making a show for normies. I'm making a show for you. I'm not going to talk about, there's this thing called Zionism, and like that's your problem. If you don't know it, then that's not, it's, you figure it out. And on one hand, I can respect that, dude. I mean, those guys have been doing that particular scene a very long time. So it's trying to start at square one. Nah, dude, I don't like that idea so much. That I can see getting painful. Like, I remember thinking that when I was in like grade school. Like, you hear this teacher talking, and you kind of, like, you got to feel dumb a little bit when you're in grade school, because you're like, dude, I know you know all this already, and I'll know this by the time I'm an adult, but I don't know it now, and I'm having to go over, these times tables again and again and again, and I'm sorry, this is probably really redundant for you, but, on one hand, but it's like, you signed up for being a school teacher. I can't make this interesting for you. You're gonna have to gut it out. But kind of on the other hand, though, is like what Spectre would talk about. Like, every show could be somebody's first show. Like, could be their very first introduction. Like, somebody sends them some show or this or whatever, and people are like, what's the meaning of this? I don't understand. Like, so it can't be too far ahead where somebody's like, hey man, I have no idea what's going on. Could you backtrack a little bit, please? It's got to be something where somebody, I think, could kind of pick up and like, all right, I'll kind of pick it up as we go, So in that sense, I don't know. I thought about it for a little while last night, and it kind of occurred to me that in a lot of ways, how can I say, man, like, the truth is like its own version, and I don't want to say its own version of the truth, like real in my mind or something, but I mean, everybody can take something different away from it, I mean, you go to the beach, there's a truth there. You go to the city, there's a truth there. You sit in a classroom or whatever, you drive a car, there's a truth to it. But the truth that you might take away from it as a beginner is not the same truth you would take away from it as someone who has been neck deep in it for a while. I mean, you get in a nice car and you go drive, if you've only driven one or two cars in your life, and you're like, oh, this is actually pretty nice. Okay, cool. And that's a fact of the matter. If you sell cars for a living and you know about cars and you get in something really nice, you're like, holy shit, the heated seats, the padded steering wheel, the cruise control, I can feel the suspension. You've got a different appreciation for everything that goes on because you've been at it so long. But, just somebody that doesn't see or recognize these things, they'll still have an appreciation. They just won't quite see all the nuances maybe until they've been at it for a little while. So I guess in that sense, man, I mean, one, it's an excuse for me to be lazy. It means I don't have to do a lot of prep. But two, it means like I can just kind of lay some things out. And if you get a kick out of it, or you think it's funny, haha, or it's something that pisses you off, it says, I got to talk to somebody about this, then cool. And if it's something that you've been around for a while and you're like, well, the coffee guy he's off to a good start, but it reminds me though of this, and this other third and fourth order effect that he forgot to mention. All right, cool. That's cool too, man. But you take that and you go tell somebody, man. Don't keep it to yourself. So apart from that, man, I had a chance to get, I got a hold of this audio book, and I can't remember if I had mentioned it before, but I was talking to somebody about this yesterday. I was talking to a Bernie bro yesterday and this person is like totally like no real grasp of anything Hebrew related, but I'm talking to this person, and what were we talking about, man? We weren't even talking about Trump, that was the other thing that I wanted to remember to hit on. The thing with the Jesse thing, that he was talking about Trump and he was getting so heated. But it was a good reminder for me, man, that like this guy is a fucking snake, man. And he's coming so hard with this regular working class white people, I'm here for you, and people buy this shit. And we've said it 1,000 different times, you know, that like white people, especially white men in this country, are so underrepresented that it's like even somebody who you know who has a history of fucking you over, even this guy, even if he'll just give you a little lip service for half a second so the whole rest of the country and all the media can be like, you hear this guy, fuck those people. At least you could be like, well, thanks for at least saying something. And then you still go vote for him. But like, look at what did this fucking guy do? What did he fucking do for you? And I guess now he's talking a little bit about like, oh, I'm going to pardon these January 6th people. And motherfucker, you could have done that right out of the gate. You were still in charge when this shit went down. You could have said like, hey, last thing I'm going to do on the way, on my way to the airport, I'm going to sign these pardons. Lots of pardons, plenty more pardons than you can imagine. Everyone gets one. And now you don't gotta sit in fucking solitary for 4 fucking years. All right, like he got heated, I'm getting fucking heated now. But you know, the guy brings up the good point that like this guy had every opportunity to do the right thing by you. And now here he is wheeling out the same shit. And if there was any question in your mind that this guy is not part of the fucking game, is not part of the kabuki theater. And again, this was something that Sven brought up yesterday, that he's talking about, you know, these people that badmouth him now, the people that badmouth him, like he had a James Carville interview on there, like all the Rachel Madcow, like all this crazy shit, The View, all this shit, people coming unhinged, you know, or I don't even know, like you can't fake being that unhinged. But I think whoever is kind of pulling the strings on this puppet show are like, hey, go out there and talk about this shit, talk about this shit, talk about this shit. And they'll talk about the limp shit. They'll talk about like pussy grabbing or whatever, you know, some broke dick fucking take vis-a-vis this Trump, but they won't talk about, yeah, remember that time when you signed up to give him like $5, but it auto checks the repeat payments and like triples it. So now like you're dropping again and again and again and again and again, like on the monthly, you know, probably more than you ever planned on giving this idiot. Remember that? Remember how that happened? And like they had to stand up a whole separate task force because people were getting shook down by fucking Trump. Remember when he stood up like stop the steal and he was gonna take action against this stolen election. And remember how nothing ever got filed, nothing ever got done? Remember whatever happened to that money? Right in the pocket, sweet fuck. So they won't mention any of that shit. And why is that? 1, because they do the same shit to you. And 2, because they plan to keep doing it. And 3, because it's just like fucking pro wrestling where like he's the bad guy. We're going to talk about him in this bad guy context, but not that over there because we got to keep this bullshit going. So yeah, dude, it was enough to spin you up, but it's a really good reminder that this is why this guy it's fucking bullshit. And, you know, I guess, you know, either way, what it will come down to is it probably will be a Biden-Trump thing, you know, assuming Biden can stay alive and upright that long and not shit his pants, like, directly in public. But it probably will come down to a Biden-Trump, you know, limp-off showdown once again. And whether your take on it is, I don't know, maybe I hold out some hope and I'm going to try to vote for the lesser of 2 incredibly shitty options and see if something can be pulled out of the fire, or if you just want to vote to, like, let's speed this thing up, let's get it sent over the cliff, unplug it, plug it back in again, roll the dice, see what we get. That's your option too. Or your option to just say, I'm going to fucking play video games, I'm going to go get a taco. That's a good option too, and that's actually probably the option I'll go with is like, yeah, I'm going to get a fucking taco. I haven't got time for this bullshit. But the other thing I wanted to hit really quick is I didn't see shit. Oh, I got my hands on this book, One Nation Under Blackmail, and I was talking to this Bernie bro yesterday, and no visibility on the JQ at all, like just kind of like still like somewhat a believer, like sees that there's a lot of dirty shit, but refuses to believe that, you know, like all of these assholes are in on it. And oh Christ, I'm dying. And actually says to me like, you know, this Bernie Sanders, you know, I actually liked Bernie. I thought that Bernie was somebody who was actually deep down trying to help at trying to do their best and just got ripped off. And I said, well, I'll agree with you that Bernie got ripped off. Like, he just got weasel-dicked right out of that. And, like, the Hillary Clinton show is like, no, motherfucker. Like, I don't care how Jewish you are or how many years of free shit you've handed out or whatever. This isn't happening. But I said, moreover, the program is kind of split from that whole mindset. That, like, Bernie Sanders is like that 1960s, 1970s Jewish professor that's like, hey man, we got to shake up the system, man. Like, let's get out there, man. You ain't gotta toe the line for the man. You got to do your own thing, man. Like, let's get in there and dig, man. Let's dig it together, bro. And it's like, no, hey, asshole, like, we are the system. Don't tell motherfuckers to fight the system. We're the fucking system, stupid. Shut your fucking mouth. And then here's this guy out here talking about, no, we need to demand universal basic income. We need to be looking out for these people. We need to be holding the man accountable. Like, stupid, we are the man. But I kind of went down that rabbit hole that I was like, look, man, you got to understand, like, this is not a situation where they're like, we're trying to restore decency to a corrupted system that got taken over by some bad apples or some kind of shit. We're talking about a system that's basically, it's been fucked since the outset, and I didn't know how fucked it was, but I can't remember if I've mentioned this before, so I'm sorry if I'm on fucking old man repeat. But I got my hands on this book, One Nation Under Blackmail, by an Ashley someone or other. Ashley Williams, maybe? I'm not sure. But yes, I am actually reading something written by a woman, but it is very thorough, man. And I mean, she goes deep. She gets in the fucking weeds with this action. Man, she has the documents. She has all the documents. And I picked the thing up, and I thought this was a book about, like, the Epstein spy ring, because, like I've mentioned before, and I referenced, like the jazz hands thing, that this is not just Jeffrey Epstein with a bright idea. This is not just Jeffrey Epstein getting his pedo on. This is not even just Ghislaine Maxwell and him buddying up to turn it into some kind of influence ring and make a few dollars. Like, this is a straight Mossad connected op running back decades that basically she got put in charge of, like, as his handler, and he is the guy that brings in the marks, if you will, brings in the suckers, and all the video and all the pictures and all the shit and all the young girls coming forward and then all the young girls like, well, you're just lucky we don't charge you for prostitution. What the fuck? Like, how do you charge somebody for doing something that they cannot legally consent to? Because how fucking crazy is this, right? I mean, we've all heard the thing where you could be a dude at college, and if you're drunk and some woman is drunk and you bring her back to your pad and bang her, then you're charged with rape because she cannot consent. Well, what about you? Well, fuck you, but she can't consent, so this is rape because she's impaired, all right? She hasn't got the sense to consent to that. But now on the other, with the shoe on the other hand, you're talking about, like, children getting looked at as like, well, maybe we charge you with prostitution. How would that be? They can't consent. And yet, here you go. Like, this is how we're going to weasel dick this band of Hebrews out of this situation. We're going to just pull this shit. So knowing that, or, we'll do that another episode, but it is, very clear just by the nature of the relationship that this is a biographical leveraging ring, so a blackmail ring. And it's got a direct line to Mossad, and all the key players are there, and all the missing pieces are like, well, wait a minute, I see all this money, but what I don't see is all the investment. I see all the action being taken, but I don't see any motivation apart from this guy now, in retrospect, having a taste for young girls. I mean, you see what I'm saying? So I get a hold of this book, and I thought this is what it was about. Like, this is just going to be, about, it's going to, like, unwind a little deeper on this Epstein thing. But I get a hold of it, and, like, after I get it, then it's like, oh, I see there's actually 2 volumes. And I'm looking at volume 1, I'm like, well, what the fuck is volume 1 about? Oh, well, we're talking about all the way back, like, 30s, 40s. But what's a trip is you listen to this shit, and it's like, you're hearing all the same names. You're hearing Cantor and Wasserman's, and, like, the Wasserman-Schultz thing. And you're hearing all these names, man. And when you look at those people, a lot of these political figures where you're like, that's the only person you know with that name. But when you listen to this shit, you're like, oh, I didn't know that this person is grandson, granddaughter, great-grandson, great-granddaughter of this absolute piece of shit gangster over here. You know, you didn't know that. And then you find out that, like, well, yeah, well, they were a gangster, they were a criminal. But you see later they decided to go legit in the strict technical sense. And, then they moved on and helped stand up this part of the government, this government agency, this bureau in the department of whatever the fuck. All right? So you look at this and she's talking through all this shit, and it's like you start to realize that there's literally no functional part of this government that is legit. Like, if there is one honest person in there, it's like this is the standout. This is the oddball. You know, this is the screwball that, like, how the fuck do you get in here? Right? And it kind of reminded me, I was thinking of it last night, that I don't know if you're old enough to remember. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when Jefferson took office. But when Dan Quayle was the vice president, and like, you probably don't remember him because he was, as I understood it, later and mostly at the time, the guy's basically just kind of a straight arrow and got to where he did in politics by doing shit the right way and by being a smart guy and also knowing to keep his mouth shut. And he didn't really say much. So he is vice president under Bush Part N. And he didn't really say much. You didn't hear much from him. But there was this running gag. I don't say running gag, more like just a repeated cycle of abuse. They're like, Dan Quayle's pretty fucking stupid. He's just a real dumbass. Like, there's vice presidential debates. And I remember at the time, like, the guy just sat there. Like, he didn't shake his head and, oh, this motherfucker. Oh, listen to this. Oh, he crazy. Like, none of this. Like, he just sat there. So, as you do with the political debate shit, I don't remember who he was debating, some woman or some Hebrew, who the fuck knows. But somebody just, eviscerating him up there, and he's just sitting there, calmly waiting his turn, just sitting there like, yeah, this is kind of pretty much the shit I expected to hear. But he's just sitting there, and, like the after action, the post-game shit with all the news channels was like, look at this dumb son of a bitch. Look how stupid this guy. He just sits there and takes a beating. Man, what a dumbass. This is not a smart person. But he's so stupid. The guy never really had. I think he had like one gaffe. I gotta look it up, man. It was something kind of small where it was like the kind of shit where you're like, I misheard the fucking reporter asking the questions. It's not, it's not a big fucking deal. Like, they, I don't know. I can't remember what it was. I got to look it up. I think it was something like they asked him something about Kenya and he said something about the entirety of Africa or some kind of shit where it was like, ha ha ha, this stupid fucker, look at how fucking stupid he is. He thinks Kenya is a whole continent or some kind of shit like that. It was some really small kind of ticky-tack thing where you're like, I don't know that really, I don't think he understood it the way you're suggesting that he's, but that became like the piling on thing for like, yeah, Dan Quayle's fucking stupid. But now you compare that to the absolute fucking dunce caps that we have running around out here now, dude. And I mean, it blows my fucking mind, like before I got kicked off social media, and I still have Twitter. If you can believe that. Like, I got kicked off fucking Instagram again for like, I think the 11th time, and I'm not going to go back, I don't think. But I got Twitter for some fucking reason, and I actually look at it once in a while. I suck at Twitter. I mean, it's there. I don't know. I guess I just look at it for like 5 minutes a day to get pissed off. But the stuff that you see is like, people are like, they're all about. There are people like legit still pimping this Biden-Harris situation. Like, even fucking Gorilla Harris. Like, she's a strong, independent woman, She's the sort to get shit done. Let's go, girl. Let's go. Bust your ass, girl. And I'm like, what the fuck page are you even on, man? It's confusing and it's uncanny. It makes me uncomfortable in its stupidity. But anyway, man, yeah, this was just this book that I got to look at, if you get a chance, One Nation Under Blackmail, and it is pretty interesting. It's a thick read, man. It's a very, very dense, a lot of names, not a lot of color commentary. Not like here where all you really get is color commentary. But I mean, it's dense, dude. But it will like black pill / white pill insofar as like, dude, if cats are getting out of bags, like there's not really a way this lasts too much fucking longer, man, because this is just, it's all very weird. So that said, I thought it might be cool to get on to I'll hit some gear and equipment considerations because I got some feedback off last time. So I'll talk through a couple of gear and equipment type considerations, like things to think about. And I'll tell you, dude, I'm not super stoked on the idea of, on one hand, it feels a little bit LARPy to jump straight to like, yeah, let's talk body armor and fucking pistol placement on your gear and this kind of shit. But, dude, if I'm being straight, man, it's like what is coming down the pipe doesn't especially look favorable. So I do think the smart money is to start at least being ready in that sense, man. And again, and for Mr. Fedman listening, I ain't saying any kind of like, bro, you got to get out there, it's time to go to war. Like, I'm not saying anything like that, dude. I honestly hope cooler heads prevail and that people are, you know what, man, let's take a fucking wrap off. It doesn't need to get this hectic. Let's see what we can figure out. I would very much prefer that. I think most people would. I unfortunately don't think that it will go that way. I think stupidity will prevail, and I think probably stupidity will ensue, and shit will get hectic. So the last thing you want is for shit to get sideways, and then here's you like, yeah, but at least I was never a LARP, and as you get gunned down, or get your home or business set on fire, and you're like, so how do I fucking? So to that end, it warrants talking about, right? So let's see, man. So the first thing I want to hit on is the idea that you ain't got to be Mr. Gear Fag, dude. You don't have to have a metric fuck ton of cool guy shit. You can have a pretty low speed setup and you can do what you need to do. And I had been thinking about it, and like Kyle Rittenhouse, dude, look at how this dude rolled. Like, this guy had an absolute basic bitch, like no hate, but like straight basic bitch, black AR-15 type setup. Dude I think he had some mags, and I don't know what he had, but he had like just a little bag, like a little satchel with him. And that guy fucking operated, man. So, if you look at that situation, one thing I want to hit on too prior to this is you can't just consider putting this shit together. You can't just consider how would I employ all this shit. You've got to consider the ramifications, man. And you can look at a Kyle Rittenhouse and say, well, look, man, this guy did the right thing. He was in a self-defense situation and he walked. Okay, remember, man, that many things went right, and many things he did. Like, this motherfucker walked between the raindrops, dude. He did everything perfectly. And as I understand it, this guy actually trained quite a bit. So, quick review. There is video of that first pedo chasing him and throwing a Molotov at him. When he smoked that pedo, the autopsy showed that on the pedo's hands, there were burn marks on, like muzzle flash marks on half of his hand and not on the other half. So what that means, again, is that the part where he had a burn on his hands, that was the part that was right up there at the muzzle. The other part that wasn't burnt is the part that was actually grabbing the muzzle. It was past where the bullet and where the flash comes out. You understand what I'm saying? So this guy had a hold of his fucking muzzle when he got shot. You were actively in the process of grabbing somebody's gun when you got fucking smoked. After he smoked that guy, he stood there and called 911. So again, this is a guy that chased him, like challenged him, chased him, threw a Molotov at him, grabbed his gun, then got shot. Then the guy stood there and called 911 before he ran. Then he ran for his fucking life. So this guy had no duty to retreat, but he retreated anyway. So the guy takes off, and now Mob chases him. Guy tries to hit him with a skateboard, and that was the guy that got, I can't remember this guy's name, but he got whacked, like got drilled right in the chest, and he went away. And then the other guy, so again, try to hit him with a skateboard. Now imagine if you try to hit a cop with a skateboard. You get charged with assault with a deadly weapon, right? Because can you kill somebody with a skateboard? Skateboard versus gun, I'll take gun every time. But can you kill someone with a skateboard? Yes, you can. So this guy was in the process of retreating, got attacked with a deadly weapon, burned that guy down. Another guy, a felon in possession of a firearm, produced a firearm, and then presented and advanced when this guy engaged. And only thing he did wrong here, and this is easy to do, so it requires training. Again, front sight focus, gents, focusing on the sights lined up properly over the target. It is a very normal thing where a guy will see a gun and then you shoot the gun. All right, so don't do that shit. Engage the target. But this is what Rittenhouse did, where he shot that fucking slip knot in the arm. Oh my God, dude. The tears, dude. Something else happened to that guy too recently, man. Like he got hit by a car or something. It's so funny, dude. And really, like, you should just be walking around happy to be alive. Like, you get hit by a car, like, I got hit by a car, but I'm all right with it, dude, because I'm not dead. I didn't get the one in the chest that I deserved. So thank you, Kyle. You should be saying thank you, friend. But so he engaged that guy, though, blew his arm off. Guy, like, he couldn't let go of his gun because his arm, like, locked up. But the guy still didn't smoke him. Like, talk about your free pass. Like, you still have a gun in your hand, dude. I don't know that it's because of the injury. You just look like you're still holding a gun. I don't know how are you walking around alive? Like, if he's going to be put on trial for anything, it should be that. Like, this was the big fuck up. But he didn't get put on trial for that. Guy got put on trial for murder. So that's the point, dude, is he did all this shit right and still got put in front of the man. So for you, that warrants very, very careful consideration. Have your fucking ducks in a row. Don't pull some wazoo fucking shit of like, I'm going to be a goddamn patriot. It's 1776. I'm walking down the fucking street with rifle in hand, all jocked up. That is the dumbest goddamn thing in the whole fucking world. All right. So like the rule of thumb that I had always heard, if you pull out a gun, it better be because you are going to use a gun. Because like you have no other option. Like I have this gun out because I have to fucking have it out. All right. You don't fucking, it's not a showpiece. It's not a decoration. It's not to indicate what fucking some club that you're part of. It's a fucking tool, man. All right. Don't put a fucking hammer in your hand if you're not going to drive nails. All right. So beat that fucking horse to death. So moving on to gear considerations then, man, I do not want to be the guy that's like gear fagorama, like, hey, get fucking good gear, dude, like spend $1 gazillion. You don't got to do that shit. I will say, like, if you're, well, okay, let me backtrack a little bit here too. Keep your skill set in line with your gear, all right? Keep your skills in line with your gear. If you're a bad motherfucker and you're out there training, don't be the guy that's like, bro, I'm a good enough shooter. I can just I don't need body armor. I don't need any of this shit. I can run on an El Cheapo rifle. I'm taking this money and going to fucking Disneyland and hang out with gays or whatever. All right. Don't be that guy, dude. Like if you're a heavy hitter, like dress for the occasion. All right, dude. Upgrade your shit to match your skills. If you're not, dude, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're not a hitter, all right, it's cool to like, just like going to a job interview, it's cool to dress for one station above the job that you want, but don't spend a fuck ton of money on like super, super high-end gear, super, super expensive shit, right? That honestly, you're not suited to shoot, you know? Like I would never, like it's like buying a fucking Ferrari to sit in traffic. Like this thing's designed to go fucking fast. This thing's designed to do 100, right? But you're like bumper to bumper or driving over fucking potholes. This is a fucking waste. Get a Hyundai for this. All right. That's all you fucking need. So, you know, like for a training gun, like you go ahead and get an El Cheapo, dude. Like get something that get your fucking Palmetto State on. It's okay, baby. Get out there, get some fucking range time. The money you were going to spend on a lot of nice shit, spend that shit on ammo. And then when you're like, you know, after you shoot this fucking thing out and it's like, yeah, this thing's like, it's wobbly. The springs are all fucking sloppy. Like it won't hold a fucking group. The barrel's just smoked. Dude, then buy something a little nicer that's like, bro, I can fucking shoot. Like, I can hold a fucking group, but like this weapon's not up to speed. I warrant something nicer. do that shit, man. Do it. So that's kind of, and I realize it's kind of like a double-edged thing there, you know, where like I'm saying, don't spend your money on gear, spend it on training ammo, right? Spend it on a weapon you can train on. Then I'm also saying like, get good gear, get decent gear, but don't make that the premise of your purchase. Like buying stuff that's too nice. Do you see kind of where I'm going? So in terms of shit you can buy and shit that maybe you ought to get your hands on, Jesus. Like, so one, we already talked about rifle. Dude, rifle is like the ability to reach out there. Like this is a game changer, dude. If all you have is a pistol outside of like 25 yards, I mean, you might as well be throwing fucking rocks, dude. Trying to make a really good shot at like 25 yards, like this is difficult, dude. This is shit that takes practice. It's going to take you standing still or you shooting supported against something. And round accuracy for like a 9mm or a 45 at 25 yards is like, dude, you're going to get a lot of drop. There's not a lot of ass pushing that round. So you're a threat. You're a guy with a gun. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it's not the same, dude. It's not the same as having a rifle. All right. Shooting a pistol is like, this is a no shit. Like this is actually a much harder skill. All right. Cause you don't have your whole body to support this thing. All right. With a rifle, you got this thing into your shoulders. Like all you got to do is like pull into your fucking shoulder. And this thing is going to stay pretty solid, dude. You've got a much longer sight alignment. So you get these things lined up, you're going to be on target, dude. Look how long the sight alignment is on a pistol. It's much smaller. So there's a little more wobbly in there. You don't want that. All right. So again, like a rifle, you're going to want this shit. In terms of like bells and whistles that you can put on a rifle, dude, I will highly recommend a light of some kind. Lights are cheap. Like, dude, if you try to get like a Surefire, like that shit is expensive as fuck. And like, as an operator, you just get handed a lot of this shit. So when I got out, I'm like, all right, man, so I need to pick up a Surefire. And I look at that and I'm like, I'm not giving you $200 or whatever the fuck for a fucking flashlight, dude. That's bullshit. All right. That's fucking nuts. You know, like after a while, like the lighting system can get to where it's going to cost more than the whole gun. All right. But, like a good light, this is solid, man. You're going to want to put that, however you activate it, like it's really easy to get a hold of just like the touchpad activation type shit. Put that somewhere where you're not going to actually accidentally set it off, you know, where like you're just grabbing on to shoot like normal and you're like, and you're just like light ADing all over the place. Because then sometime when you don't want to set your light off, you're going to like, and now you set it off. You're like, hey, quit fucking around. All right. But a light, that's good stuff, dude. Some of the other basic type stuff like body armor, right? Dude, there is a difference. Like if you take a look at body armor, you can get like, and they're rated, and I can't remember exactly what all the ratings are. There's like level 4, there's like 3+, 2+, and so on. And if I remember correctly, like 3+ is actually a better product than 4. Like 4 is just like kung fu grip, super fucking heavy. I'm going to war and I don't have to move around very much. Like it's not comfortable, but that's what they give you. Like that's what they give you in the military. Like here's giant fucking plates. You're like, God damn, dude. And it never occurred to me that like, you know, maybe they make these in different sizes. Right. And a lot of times I would just wear like, dude, I wore like what they call chicken plates, where it's like for doing PSD work, it's just like a small metal plate. So I'd wear like a 9mm wrap and then a chicken plate. And I'm like, dude, whatever, man. You know, I'm going to roll the dice here. But I did that a lot because like if you got to walk a long ways, like them level 4 plates, you're not going to be a happy camper. But you get on there to like take a look at something like Hoplite Armor. I believe some of those are our guys, and they've got the whole range there. And you can get some decent plates, and plates are kind of expensive, but bro, when it's the 2-way range, you're going to want those plates, goy. So that's something I would look into. A helmet is good, dude. A helmet protects your head, right? A helmet is good insofar as like it's not always easy to keep track. And this sounds weird to say. It's not always easy to keep track of where your fucking head is. Right? So people have a habit of like, I want to see what's over there. And they poke their fucking head up. People get shot in the fucking head doing this. So you're going to want like a decent helmet, man. Again, if you can get one. But a decent helmet is cool also because, and I'm going to shill this, night vision. Night vision is a very expensive proposition, but dude, I am train wreck serious. If you can get your hands on some night vision, if you can save your shekels, if there's a way you can do it, night vision is an absolute game changer. All right, if you can get night vision and an IR aiming device, so like a laser pointer, like an IR laser pointer that goes on your rifle, and you set it up the same way as your flashlight where you got like a touchpad activation thing. If you can get your hands on this is an absolute game changer, dude. Because like when we're thinking realistically about like what situation might I be jocking up in this shit, it's like shit has gone completely sideways. This is not even like there's some people fighting in the street, a town over or a block over, or there's people throwing bricks maybe downtown. Like you're talking about like Thunderdome doomsday shit. The power is out. Day whiling in the streets. Houses are getting broken into because it's dark and nobody can see shit. The only people who can see anything are people with flashlights and you. Dude, I have been in situations where I'm on night vision and I got, like you and the whole crew. You've got the night vision, you've got the IR aiming device, yes. A lot of these devices, man, what they have is like there'll be the aiming device. And understand, this is not like laser pointer, like some kind of weird shit you see on a movie where it's like the red dot or some shit. But like this is like no shit, IR, invisible, like you look at it under night vision and wherever the dot is, that's where the bullet goes. So you can hold this shit at your hip and you turn it on and boink, and you have the same way. Like you just push the switch and there's the dot over there and that's where the bullet's going to go. Now, because it's going to be a little bit offset, there's going to be some finagling you have to do with the aiming. Like, all right, dude, at this close, I got to aim like so. But I mean, it is the warmest, fuzziest. All right. And a lot of them will have another feature where it'll be like aim and flood. So there'll be different settings where it could be just flood, where it's like a floodlight, like a big ass flashlight, but it's IR, right? So you could have IR plus flood, where it's like you hit the little switch and it's like a flashlight, like wow, like I'm looking over there. And also aim. So like right in the middle, it'll be like a tiny dot that's way, way brighter. And now, you hear a rustling in the bushes and you look with your special eyes, or you're looking with your night vision too, and you look and you don't quite see anything, because if it's dark, like night vision works, but it's still fucking dark. You hit this thing and it's like, wow. And now you see some idiot over there and you're like, dude, I don't know. And he thinks he's hiding, man. He thinks you can't see him. So it's like, bro, I don't know. I'm sorry for your bad luck, but today's not your day. It sucks. Today's not your day. Your last day is not going to end well. So this is what you get. So yeah, dude, it's an absolute game changer. It's expensive as fuck, but if you shop around, you can find some stuff. You could find some deals. And if you were going to buy something, like I would pass on a lot of shit and I'd buy some of that. Other thing, that was what got me going on the helmet thing. You mount this to your helmet. Now you're walking around like, I mean, dude, you're like the Terminator. But the other thing about the helmet, man, is you can put that ear pro on there. You can put that ear pro, the noise canceling shit, like the noise canceling shit, which is also like the noise amplifying shit. All right. So it's those deals where if you got that sweet Spec Ops guy cut, fucking helmet, and now you got that ear pro, and it's the deal that's like, it just swings off to the side. So if you're in the car, you just like just swing it off to the side, and now you don't have, ear pro sitting on your head if you don't want. But now you walk out there, if you got to get it on or some shit, and now now you got that ear pro on, but you turn it up and now you can hear everything. You got like bionic ears, man. So if there's a rustling over there, you're going to hear it better than you heard it with just your ears, with just your special ears. And then if the shooting starts, then then it shuts off. So, and I don't mean to insult nobody's intelligence. Like if you're just not familiar with this shit, this is what it does. Like it lets you hear, but then if shit gets hectic, then it shuts off and now you don't go fucking deaf. I want to preempt anybody saying like, bro, I just get used to the noise or I'll just work through it. Don't do that shit. All right. Dudes used to say that like way back in the day. Like even in the spec ops scene, like dudes used to talk about that. Like get used to it. You get used to shooting with, without ear pro. No, you get deaf is what you fucking get. You don't get fucking used to it. You just lose your fucking hearing. Okay. But, if you doubt, man, I will tell you like the first time a shot goes off in a house or in a car and you don't have ear pro in or on, you'll be the first to know. You'll regret that decision immediately and you will immediately say like from now on, ear pro. If you start, there'll be deals where like you start to roll into a situation and you're like, oh fuck. And you're like, I got to get fucking here. You're like scrambling to get your shit in or on or whatever. So yeah, dude, it's a no shitter, but a helmet can fix all this. All right. So you're going to want that hearing. You're going to want that vision. So, I mean, it's an investment, dude. It's a pain in the ass. And I'll throw in this pro tip. When you get night vision, you can, if you want, get like the extended battery pack that'll like attach or like Velcro onto the back of your helmet. You could do that. I never ran that. Like AA batteries will run, it'll run night vision like a very, very long time. But what you can do though is if you put like a little package of batteries and then you like leave it in the fuck, like take some fucking batteries, right? Take the small package of AA batteries. I'll say it's simple. Take that small package that you buy of AA batteries and leave it in that plastic, right? The plastic that it comes in at the grocery store, and then just tape that shit so it's not shiny and plastic. And now you can Velcro it and then put a bungee cord across it or tape it up real nice to the back of your helmet. All right. So the reason for this is because when you get night vision on your helmet, all right, if you got it on for a while, the front of your fucking face is going to get numb because it's like pressing against your forehead. You're not going to like it. So you got this counterweight on the back, and like some dudes will just get weight. Like you can buy just weight, and you can do that if you want. Some dudes would use an extra radio battery. So like an emitter battery, like you just put it back there and that'll stay too. Like don't get one that's good still. Like get a battery that's, dead. You probably don't have access to a battery, so don't fucking worry about it. In retrospect, I'm not sure how good of an idea it is to have a battery taped to your head. Like if you get fucking, like the bullets start flying and now there's a battery that gets shot and there's battery innards coming out all over. I don't know if that probably doesn't help the situation. You're making things worse, arguably worse. So, but what I'm getting at here is like counterweight for your night vision. Like you're going to want that shit. It's a good deal. Comms, dude. I hear some people pimp comms really hard. I've never been that much of a comms guy. If you are, if you're working if you've got a crew and, you're like, you got a neighborhood watch kind of a thing, like, hey, if doomsday ever comes to Dog Patch, right, then we got a plan, dude. If you got something like that, then where you're going to be working coordinated with other guys, then cool. Otherwise, dude, I mean, for my money is like, if I have the opportunity, pick up some short range radios. It's a secondary concern for me. Other dudes might feel very differently about it, but this I think is kind of personal choice. In terms of gear, I will say like get your shit on and then load your shit up. So whether that's like body armor, like plate carrier with mag pouches and what have you, whether that's gun belt with suspenders, gun belt hooked to some kind of like 80s fucking storming Grenada type rig where, all the shit's hooked together. This shit is personal preference, dude. You put your shit, like you run what you like to run. All right. Do fuck around with it and see what works best for you. But what I'm getting at is load the shit up, put the shit on, cruise around with it for a while because the shit it'll settle a little. It'll start to sag a little. And I think one of the hardest to look at pictures I think I remember seeing in recent history was there was some guy who went off the rails and he decided to go be an active shooter. And this guy got his hands on a bunch of op gear, and he's all jocked up in black, which looks corny, just so you're aware. But he's all jocked up in all black. And this poor fucker, dude, like he got this shit on And there's like a picture of him like stumble fucking out of a building somehow. And he's got this gun and he's like, obviously he's out of his element. Like he doesn't look comfortable at all in any of this shit. And it's saggy and like falling off of him. And I'm like, God damn, dude, just the image of it is like, it sucks, dude, because it's a white dude. And I know, the guy who's, and I don't remember who the guy was or what his deal was or nothing, man. I just remember the picture was like the personification of desperation mode. Like completely fucked. I was fresh out of options, had nothing fucking going. And I'll be fucking fair here. If the tranny community can come out and say like, oh yeah, this fucking mentally unwell girl over here had no choice but to show up with a gun in her hand at an elementary school, if they can run with that line of thinking, then I think we can run with this line of thinking that like, yeah, this white guy for whatever reason felt that he had no other option. And I think we can say that to a greater degree of fairness than this tranny situation. So there's that. But in terms of how you rig your gear and where you put your gear, a lot of that is going to depend, like I mentioned last time, on where you're going to be running this and how you're going to be carrying it. So, like as an example, I don't want to go over every fucking pouch you have, but as an example, like your pistol, all right? So if you were going to do like a really short, quick fix, like fast rope onto the roof of the embassy and run down there and save the princess or take over the embassy, what the fuck ever, like those drop leg holster type pistols, all right, those are cool. Those are cool because they're really fucking fast, all right? Like you don't got to really bend your body at all. You just like lower your primary, whoop, like your hand is right there and it's on your weapon and you're ready to fucking move. You're ready to come out of that holster. So that's the point behind a drop leg holster, is that it's really fucking fast. It's not in the way of anything else. The downside of the drop leg holster is if you got to walk at all, like if you got to walk a couple miles, that thing will start fucking flopping because you're going to get fucking sweaty. All right. You get sweaty, your pants get sweaty, your belt loosens a little bit, and now that shit starts to sag. And as it starts to sag, now it starts to flop back and fucking forth with every step. If you got to walk by any bushes or through any kind of shit, this thing's going to catch on that shit and you're going to be like, God damn it. So the consideration there, all right? If it's what you run already and it's what you really dig, then run the fucking thing. I'm just telling you, my experience. Another option there, what I usually ran if we landed and had to walk in somewhere, was I would just keep the pistol on my belt, all right? So that, now I can get to it, because like I said, man, I didn't rock any side plates, dude, because it's just too goddamn hot. But I can get to the pistol, all right? But it's not where it's going to be like floppy flopping. It's a little more uncomfortable, right? But you want to be comfortable or do you want to be a good operator? Because you can't really have both. So that's where your belt line is concerned. If you're in a vehicle, so if you've seen pictures now, like once in a while you'll see pictures where a guy will have a pistol up like on his chest. Yeah, like on his plate carrier, like rigged up like some kind of Molly type shit. All right, that works good like if you're in a vehicle. So if you're rolling in a vehicle, especially if you're like a driver, like a primary driver or something, you probably don't have the means or opportunity to get your primary up, like to get your rifle like out the fucking window. So if some weird shit happens and you got to split town, you can just hang this fucking pistol out the window, right? And it's right there on your chest where you can get to it. So that's kind of the thought process behind a lot of this. Like think through, like where might I be? What might I need? Where can I put this so it's out of the way if I'm probably not going to use it, but if I need it, I can fucking get to it. Make sense? Real quick, I guess, in terms of color and such, the last thing I'll hit on is that the idea of camouflage, all right, let me just say this. The idea of camouflage, not like the color camouflage, like God's plaid or some shit, right? The idea of camouflage is to blend in. So if you're blending in, all right, that means just like people don't see you. The idea of this is to blend in. So looking at what you have in terms of your gear or your stuff or whatever, you can paint dude, feel free to paint your shit. Like you can paint your gun and all this, like just tape over the parts that you don't want paint in, like the inside and the guts and like the ejection port or like the mechanisms of the trigger and such. Just tape around that shit. And then you can paint this shit and you can make it look like anything. I used stuff for like back porch pottery type shit. So it's got like a texture to it. And then you can put like build your own shadows into it. So like I put that shit and then just put like one or two like black kind of angles or some darker streaks. And now the idea here is not to make it look like a piece of pottery, but to make like whatever it is you're painting, whether it's your gun, your helmet, whatever. So it looks like something fucking else. So it just makes somebody, like, if they see that sitting still someplace, they're like, wait, what? And by then, you either decide that they're not a threat or, they get what they get. So with that, man, I'm going to go inside, man. I got to go to the airport and enjoy myself. But if you dig this, feel free to leave it where somebody can find it, pass it along with a friend, because like we say, the world needs more people like us. And do feel free to hit me up, not on the gram no more, but on Twitter at CoffeeLong14. Right, clever, right? Or at the Abuse Hour on the Telegram. And until next time, man, I don't know what we'll talk about next time, but, who the fuck knows. But until then, keep your eyes on the horizon, keep your neck out of the noose. I've been Coffee. These are my takes.